What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Chance Talks Business Podcast, where opportunity meets action and ideas come to life. I'm your host, Chance Richardson. Today, I just want to talk about just starting. This is the first episode of this podcast, and in the past, I've always thought about creating content, and I always just thought it had to be perfect. Everything had to be perfect. The lighting, the quality, everything just had to line up perfect. But I realize now that if I had just started back, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even a month ago, things would be a whole lot different. I would have more momentum going forward. And today, I'm going to share the reasons why you should just start. Don't worry about what things look like. Just work with what you have. Even if you have to start with just an audio podcast, start with that first, because if you can just get started, then you can continue to build. Some of the reasons why you should get started is momentum builds over time. Of course, whenever you start out, your first 100 episodes, maybe 200 episodes might not be that great. But if you keep on building, keep on trying, and just continue to learn and build from where you're at, the momentum will help move you forward. Also, perfection is a myth. I had a client, we were working on a project, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I've always been that way, just want to make things the best that they can be. And I was talking with my client, and he told me, Chance, done is better than perfect, which is true, because it goes back to the other point. You can always work and make things better than what they are. But if you just get started, get that website up, get your social media campaigns running, get the project rolling. If you can just get it going, then you can always go back and make changes. And I know a lot of people say like first impressions are everything, and that's true to a certain extent, but what if you never make an impression at all? A bad first impression doesn't really happen that often if you are someone who somewhat knows what they're doing. If you just start, even if your podcast is terrible, even if your video is terrible, even if the content that you create is terrible, it's going to provide momentum and move you forward. And that leads me to the next point, overcoming fear and doubt. If you can overcome your fear, like I don't like being in front of the camera. Most of the projects that I've been involved in, I've been behind the camera, behind the scenes, and this is something very different for me. I can create content for other businesses, for other content creators all day long, but whenever it comes to creating content for myself, that's where I usually lack, because I just have fears and doubts and worrying about what people are going to think. Are they going to think what I say is stupid? Are they going to not find value in it? Is nobody going to listen? Am I just wasting my time? All that fear and those doubts creep into your mind, and it paralyzes you sometimes with fear to the point that you just don't get started. But I decided, nobody is perfect whenever they begin. No one is perfect throughout the whole process. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be, things that just aren't right. And that's okay. It's okay for things not to be perfect. So, don't let the fear, don't let the doubt keep you from creating content and spreading your message. People like authenticity. They like, realness. So just be yourself, come across, and you're going to come across as a real, genuine person, and just be yourself, and you will find your audience. You're going to find your audience either way. That leads me to this. Early failure is good for the long term. Like, I remember I've been building websites and doing stuff on social media since before social media was even around. I built my first website on tripod in like 2005, 2006, somewhere around in there. And the website looks terrible. But if I would have never went through those failures, and every project that I do, I try to learn something. I try to get better. So those failures is what caused me to get better. It's not really a failure. It's just a way of learning how not to do something. But we call them failures, but really they're learning opportunities. The only time that you fail is if you don't learn something from it, or if you continuously make the same mistake over and over again. So as long as you're learning from those mistakes, in the long run, it's going to help you. The first time that I recorded a podcast, the quality was way worse than this. The sound was way worse than this. Like everything everything that I've learned, the mistakes that I made in the past, has built up to me becoming becoming better, being able to create better quality content, learning. There's been audio issues that I've had in the past that now I can work through because I had those issues. If you never have mistakes and you don't make mistakes, you're gonna not grow. And then another thing is marketing dynamics change. For instance, look at the California gold rush. What if now people were rushing to California to find gold? It wouldn't work out for them very well because there's not, that opportunity has passed us. It's not there anymore. So now that's why I was thinking you got to strike while the iron is hot. I've been part of a podcast with my friend Chad and Tony and BJ the DJ, and I've gotten used to being in front of the camera some, and that gave me more confidence to be in front of the camera. Like I said, I like being behind the camera, but I know you have to get your face out there. I tell businesses every day, like, you got to get attention. You got to get your face out there. You got to be in front of your clients. And if you're in front of your clients, then, you're able to get that attention. And attention leads to more success, and attention leads to more opportunities. So, that's, you just have to just start and just move forward with it. Don't worry about how it looks in the beginning, or just grow from it. And that leads me to personal growth and confidence. The more you do something, the more confident you become. I'll go back and I'll watch this episode 100 episodes in, and it's going to be a totally different podcast. My attitude is probably, I'm going to show more confidence. The attitude toward talking to a camera is going to be a lot different than it was on this episode. And I look forward to that personal growth and that confidence growth, because as I've went throughout my career, I've always put an emphasis on personal growth, reading self-development books, just getting around people who can teach me more things and that I can learn from. I don't mind hanging around people that are on the same level as me, or maybe a few levels below me, but I enjoy being around people who are where I want to be, and I look at their actions and look at what they're doing, and that helps me become a better person and a better business owner, and it just helps overall personal growth. And that's what, whenever you just start, you'll find ways to make things better. You can go on YouTube, you can, take courses, you can talk to people who have already done it, and they can help you and show you, tips, tricks, and how to get where you want to be. But with this podcast, this is the Chance Talks Business Podcast. What I see this being is an outlet for business owners. I want to talk with business owners, talk with people who are just starting out, people who've been in business for 30 plus years, people who have been in family businesses and grew up in family businesses, and transitioned into owning the business, and just everything business. I would like this podcast to be, and just learning and creating the opportunity for the viewers and the listeners to learn about business. And I want to get those personal stories. It doesn't just have to all be business talk, because that can get boring. I want to learn what's behind the entrepreneur, the story of the business, how you got started, how did you find the name. So if you're interested in doing an interview, and I have a lot of friends who are businesses or have brands, musicians. I was in the music business for probably 10, 11 years, somewhere around in there, full time, and I met a lot of contacts in that business, so I can get on that side of the aisle. And I also know just regular service business owners. I don't have a whole lot of friends that own big corporations or anything like that. It's mostly just your smaller to medium sized businesses. I look forward to reaching out to some of those corporate business owners and just finding out how they grew the business to that level, or maybe talk to some CEOs. But my passion is small business and medium sized business. I like the guy that's a plumber and he's still working in the business, or at least going out meeting customers and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to what this podcast is going to do for a lot of the businesses. I'm looking forward to seeing how it grows my business. But you just have to start. If you never start and you're always thinking, I need the conditions to be perfect, well, the conditions may never be perfect and they might pass you up. The opportunity might go and you missed it. So, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago, and the next best time is today. So if you're worried about starting a podcast, or even you don't even have to start a podcast, just pick up your phone, do an Instagram post, do an Instagram story. Start with stories. Those things disappear. So it doesn't really matter if someone sees it, because it's going to disappear from the internet. So just get practicing doing the stories. Once you get comfortable in front of the camera, then move from that and start doing more content. But I hope y'all enjoyed this first episode. Like I said, you can probably tell I'm not 100% comfortable with sitting here talking to a camera, just me and the camera. I'm looking forward to getting some guests on here. If you want to be part of the show and you want to interview, I'm trying to get it set up to where we can do over the internet, or Google Meets or Zoom or something like that. I'm working on getting all that set up so I can interview people from all over the world. But if you want to be a guest, send me a message, contact me, email, whatever works best for you. We'll connect, we'll get you on the podcast and get your story out there. But I'm looking forward to seeing what this podcast can do. I appreciate you tuning in for the first episode. It's kind of short, but I just wanted to be respectful of everyone's time and get straight to the point. So like this video, subscribe. If you're listening on an audio format, subscribe on there, and I'll catch you on the next one.